What's up, y'all? I've got some good news for you today. We've got Bryce McClanahan in the house, and this man just landed a fully remote tech sales role in just 20 days. He's here to tell us about the Sword program, his experience, and what we've accomplished. Bryce, welcome,
Man, come
brother.
on, let's go. Thank you, Jack. Excited. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. So fill us in for all of us who don't really know you well. What were you doing before joining Sword? What was your career like? What was not satisfactory about it? Walk us through
Man,
that.
no doubt, absolutely. So, yeah, I come from the background of athletics. I've been a college soccer coach the last 6 seasons as a head women's soccer coach. Prior to that, as an assistant, and I love what I get to do. Genuinely, I love growing, maximizing your potential and helping others do that. But right, I've got a wife, I've got 2 daughters, and hopefully, right, more kids to come. And what I came to realize is, yeah, my ceiling is kind of capped, right? No matter how hard I work, I always make the same amount of money. And so I do want to provide an incredible lifestyle, to be generous, but also, to live below our means, that kind of thing. Yeah, and have some big dreams. So, anyways, I was like, this was in June or July. I kind of took a step of faith. What does this whole kind of realm of sales look like? I was more kind of in a telecom space. And yeah, I was kind of doing that alongside of college coaching. But yeah, ultimately for me, I know that you got to be all in into what you do. And so, yeah, this fall will be the last part of me, being a college soccer coach and fully transitioning into, tech sales. And it seems like it's a glass ceiling, right? And so for me, I'm, so excited to, be digging in, be learning every day, be challenged. That whole thing excites me a lot. So that's a little bit about kind of where I'm coming, where we're at now.
Let's go, man. That's huge. You were grinding already when I met you. You were already doing coaching and you're doing door to door, and you got 2 daughters and a wife. And man, like there was no question with you. It wasn't a work ethic thing. It was just like, what vehicle do we need to get Bryce in where he's going to go the farthest? So tell us now that you've gone through this, you're 20 days later, you landed a role. Tell us what life like is after
Man,
Sword.
yeah, so I would just say, Jack, you were an incredible blessing, right? I think, yeah, there was a guy who helped me kind of get into sales, and you helped me, I'd say, find the right vehicle, right? To be an SDR. And I had no idea what that was, what, a month ago. And ultimately, you equipped me, and you have just a very, very good framework, right? Basically, if you show up, if you do the work, if you're consistent, you're going to see the fruit of that. And so, that's what I did. So I just say, yeah, Sword was incredible. I feel like you're somebody that's a great communicator, somebody that's high energy, somebody that's very focused, somebody that does have a good like pulse on things, right? It's not like, hey, you go sort it out. It's like, hey, I think one of the phrases that we had talked about was, or I heard that, and maybe in a video, was basically like the beauty of hand holding. And so that's kind of what I was looking for, was like, hey, let's freaking lock arms, right? I feel like I'm a workhorse, but I need, more of a framework. So I thought it was going to be a really good partnership, and it was. So
Yeah, Bryce, you are a workhorse. And for you to speak that highly of my coaching, you're an expert coach as well. So I was kind of internally like, all right, I wonder if Bryce is judging my coaching right now. And I hope he is. And hey, here we are. So we made
let's
it,
go.
man. There's so many programs out there. There's so many boot camps that help you get into tech sales, all of the different things. We met as complete strangers. So I'm kind of curious to hear like, why did you land on Sword ultimately?
Probably what, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. I wasn't sure what the vehicle was. But yeah, I was on a work trip on a bus and nothing else to do. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna dig. And so I was on Instagram, kind of going into sales pages, and you popped up in Ford Advisory. And so yeah, I think I followed the next day or maybe that same night. You had sent a message. I was like, dang, let's go. And so that led to, you sending 1 or 2 videos, me watching those, and then us getting on a call. But right, it was kind of like a no-brainer, right? We talked about kind of drawing a line in the sand, and for me, it was just like this just makes sense. So, yeah, I got the wife, she and I, being together. She was on board, which was incredible. So that's kind of what that looked like. But it was kind of through that Instagram search or dating, found you, we got connected, and it's been really good ever since.
And that is a leap of faith for someone like you who was doing door to door. You weren't quite where you wanted to be in terms of
Yeah.
production there. Hadn't really heard of tech sales before. You come across me, a stranger on Instagram. That's a lot of steps of faith to get to where you are today. Can you kind of talk to the person who's on the fence about joining Sword? Because I talk to other guys like you, they want to make this transition, but they're on the fence and they can't seem to get off the fence. What would you tell them?
Man, no doubt. So I'm really big in like alignment. So like foundation, character, integrity, mentality, gifting, all that stuff. And so when I came across you, like, man, that's a guy that's just in alignment. Right. Obviously, you being a man of faith, I'm like, nice, let's go and plug in. So I'd say that was incredibly attractive. In regards to like people being on the fence, like you have to like first be self-aware, right? Kind of like take inventory, take stock. Right. I think you've talked about it. And for me, that's this huge component, but like take extreme ownership over every facet of your life. And yeah, over the last 3 years, I believe I've been doing that and kind of maxing out the framework that I have now. But earlier this year was my goal to grow socially and financially. And so financially, I was like, hey, this is the right vehicle. So if you're on the fence, right, it's kind of like simplifying things. Like, who am I? What is it that I really want? What is like the cost that I sacrifice to that? And then kind of move forward from there. So that's kind of my process.
I think that's a really sober assessment of life. It's like no matter what you do, it's hard, right? It's hard to be overweight and out of shape. It's hard to go to the gym every day. Life's hard. And you were willing to look that in the face and go, okay, where I am at is hard. Making this step is going to be hard, but which hard do I want? And that's the beauty of life. We get to choose our hard. So your courage just to step up and get it done for your family, man. It's why we're here. It's why we're here 20 days later. Um, talk to me a little bit about the coaching experience, especially you as an expert coach. What's something that stuck out to you about my coaching style?
No, definitely. So I think I wrote a note, and so I wanted to make sure to get this stuff right. But ultimately, what I would just say is like number one is like you're in alignment. So two was like, man, you're just very genuine. Like what pours from you. It's like, man, I love this guy. Anytime I would kind of text back and forth, they're saying the voice note, it was always to some degree just very encouraging, right? So I think you can't be energy, you can't be enthusiasm. I think it's very infectious. So you've got like the coach's energy in a sense, right? So I really enjoyed that. And then, yeah, it was basically, right, what does every coachable person want? In a sense, kind of like, is it going to be worth it? And so I think you really closed the gap. Like, there's really no doubt. Like, you made a decision. This is the best decision you've ever made. And your process is so like step by step by step oriented that it's like you can't fail, you can't lose, so to speak. So, yeah, those are kind of what stood out to me. But yeah, I'm really big in just that framework, and you've got it 100%. So yeah,
Thank you, man. From one coach to another. I appreciate that. And what would you say outside of the big result, right? You landing this role in just 20 days. Now you're going to be able to be way more flexible for your family. The career potential for you is massive. You're going to dominate this game. But outside of that, what's something that you feel like we really achieved together that you're proud of?
yeah, no doubt. For me, I would just say like I view success as like meaningful progress toward a noble goal. And so, what is that noble goal? I think it is like leading my family, providing, protecting, all that stuff. And I think it's kind of building that community. So, like what you're doing, the community that you're building, that you built. Yeah, it's just like, man, these are people that are alive. You could see it in their eyes. So, yeah, I believe that there was absolutely steps of meaningful progress, right? So I think that's probably kind of like the biggest result, so to speak. But like you said, right? Like the ceiling, I look at it as a glass ceiling, right? And I'm coming in as an inbound SDR, and so I want to build an incredible foundation and go and smash it, and then just kind of keep going from there. So that's what I believe I have at Tech, incredible leadership. And so just plug in, trust the process, right? Learn something new every day. So yeah, that's kind of what comes to my mind.
Man, I love that definition of success. I've never heard it put that way, but meaningful progress. towards a noble goal. That is like, did you make that up, or is this already someone like a general in the military
Yeah,
or
no.
something?
So I've had incredible coaching mentors in my life. One of them, he helped me basically when I was coaching like the 8 year olds. And so, yeah, he is just so genuine. He just like anything like he touches, you can just see it's like, man, that guy loves you, right? So he actually kind of coined that definition of success. But yeah, he was really big into like John Wooden, and so kind of stole his and kind of made it own. I'm like, no, that's why I wake up every day. And it's like an infinite game. It's not a finite, hey, once you achieve X.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay. So, speaking of success, meaningful progress towards a noble goal, there's other people out here on the tech sales job search, and it's probably not going well. They're frustrated, they're hitting a wall. What do you feel like is something you learned specifically in the program that if they knew would really help them go land a job?
Man. Yeah, for sure. It seems like kind of with one job, right? There's probably hundreds, sometimes maybe thousands of applicants, something along those lines, right? So yeah, I think early on, it was a way to like submit my application, right? But then after that week, I would kind of reflect and be like, well, that's kind of pointless, right? They just got 500 applications, right? So let's go in sequence. Like you have to be diligent in sequencing. I think that's secret sauce. And then every step kind of along the way, I think I shared maybe 2 or 3 videos that you connected me to people through LinkedIn. And I feel like those kind of minute or 90-second clips really kind of illustrate like who I am as a person and why it would be a great fit. I would say another important component was reaching out to an SDR on their current team. So I did that, and his name was Derek. Really, really good guy. But it just got me even more excited for the role. Like he had no previous experience, which I don't have much of, if any. And then, yeah, he got promoted pretty quickly. And so, right, it's like, again, like if you're looking for a great vehicle, here's the vehicle for you. So I'd never done kind of like that Apollo sequencing before. But yeah, that was a game changer. And I had no idea what that entailed, but it's a lot of work. But ultimately, it's like, yeah, no, if you're built different, that is the only path that kind of makes sense, so to speak. So,
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So Apollo sequencing, being diligent, following up, because you're right. A lot of people just stop after the first application and they move on, but you're just falling into a stack of resumes that no one looks at. So that's huge. The other thing that I think is key, and it's not too hard to do, is to reach out to the SDRs at the company because they want to help. They probably just got hired a few months
oh, yeah.
back, right? And so they're in this position of wanting to help out. And I think that's wisdom right there, and it worked for you. So Bryce, man, I'm so fired up for you, for your family. God is so good, and
Oh,
this is only the beginning for you, brother. Who is faithful with a little will be trusted with a lot, right? And the Lord is just going to open the gates of heaven for you, your family, your
wow,
career. I'm so excited to follow you, man.
man, let's go.
Congratulations.